Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we say IoT, I think all of us more or less know what IoT is, and most likely, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, perfect. And most likely, all of us have used IoT devices. At least any IoT devices, either a smart bulb or a smart floor cleaner or robotic vacuum cleaner, or some sort of IoT devices we all of us have used, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now today we'll see how exactly we can create a basic building block for IoT device and how we can make it secure. Sec- we have already covered this part in a very fast day, that why a system fails. There are three ways to failing a system: reliability, usability, and security. Now, when we have IoT devices, here the problem is it is not the bigness of the system or how big the system is. The problem is the number of systems. There are so many thousands and millions and billions of systems connected. That is a problem. And when we see, and in that case, the reliability, usability, and security both are on stake. This is good for information security. There is no problem. But for IoT device, it is not only this reliability, usability, and security is not dependent on the CIA triad. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability are fine. They are perfectly working well and mathematically proven that that is good for the data security. But for IoT device, they are not the only thing. We have one more dimension to think of. Before going to that, just imagine all these things are connected to each other. That connection is itself is a problem, and that includes the SCADA devices or some critical infrastructures as well. We are now connecting the critical infrastructure, the nuclear what new or the nuclear reactors, SCADA, the power grid, the water processing unit. All these things we are connecting them with each other, and many other cases we are connecting them using internet. So this is actually a very big problem and very big concern for all the security professionals across the world. What we are doing is right or wrong? We are doing it for usability purpose. We are doing it because it will make our life convenient. But how about in the presence of an adversary if everything goes wrong? The extensibility is another problem. Previously, when like we are using same code, we are if we are having thousand smart bulb, that means, and each of this bulb has a vulnerability. That means we have thousand times we have multiplied the vulnerability. Now if there are the vulnerability happens in one system or in one code, that means across the world, across thousand millions or billions of connected devices, we are actually propagating that error. We are propagating the vulnerability. That is a very big problem. And mobile codes are like it's a like we are using an Android phone or a iOS phone which is built over a Linux kernel. And what happens? Those kernel is itself vulnerable. What is the guarantee that everything works well? And there is guarantee that it will not, at least the history says that. There are a lot of the cases, DOS has a lot of problem, Linux had a lot of problems. So it used to happen. And the complexity, like when Windows 10 has some 50 million line of code. Okay. And the Pathfinder or the first lunar mission that was successful, Apollo, I think Apollo 11. So the entire, all the computers that time, it has only some 500 to 600 lines of code. It's less than 1,000. Whereas a Windows 10 that we all are running, it is 50 millions line of code. Google is offering 2 billions line of code. So that is the vastness of the thing when we are thinking about the complexity, and we are using all these codes into our IoT devices and connecting them without understanding what vulnerability each of those line codes have, without understanding how whether there is any problem with the connectivity or not, and we are extending that again and again by multiplicating the number of devices. As I said, there is one thing that really not working for our info security apart from confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What is that? Coming to that, how many of you know about this dark state? Have you heard about this thing?
Yes,
Anybody?
it's the Iran
Yes.
nuclear hacking, right?
Yes, that's correct. But this shook the world in a different way because it happened in 2010. So only 10, like 12 years back, this thing happened. And 12 years back, when it happened, it shook the entire world. Not because of it has compromised some nuclear facilities, but it gave us an idea that whatever we are securing is not only on the data domain, that is also affecting us in the physical domain, the real world we are living in. Prior to that, whatever security mechanism we have thought of are to secure our information, are to secure our data. Yes, that is also very important, because if data is compromised, data integrity is lost, or data confidentiality is lost, we will be in big trouble. The money we have, we think we have this amount of money in the bank, that is nothing but a integer or a float stored in a database in that bank, nothing else. So if somebody can compromise with that single variable or that single integer or float, we are done, all our money is gone. Similar, so that is important, but that is not life threatening, or that is not something in that affects the world we are living in, or the real world we are living in. That was only affecting the information world or the data world or the data domain. Stuxnet, when it happened in 2010, it actually ruined almost 1/5 of Iran's nuclear centrifuges. There are centrifuges used in the nuclear facilities, right? So those centrifuges, it just affected. That means it had a potential to blow half of the Europe and almost the entire Arabian world. It could blow up the entire thing. That potential it had, and it happened from a computer worm that was originally aimed at Iran's nuclear facilities, and after that it got mutated. Many people had developed many other variation of that worm, and it kept on affecting different places. In fact, the original Stuxnet malware attack that happened, it actually targeted the programmable logic controller. So every centrifuge had some logic controller, right? A controller. We call it PLC board, or the programmable logic controller. Every electronic device we use, it has a PLC board, including our car. We call it motherboard, right? So this PLC board was infected by some worm. First of all, yes, that is in the data domain because it was dealing with the data, but those are control data. That was the problem. So the control data, if you tamper, it will actually affect us in the physical world. So we are calling it cyber physical system, where data is not only data, but also the data is controlling some physical devices. So that's the problem. So when it comes to the CPS or cyber physical system, it's a problem. And the Stuxnet first showed us, okay, using this PLC board, if I have some worm that usually that is meant to work on some information, just some digital data, zeros and ones. But using that, I am actually compromising your PLC board. And if the PLC board is compromising, your centrifuge will start rotating exactly the way I want. Luckily, those times the centrifuge got stopped, not rotating. It would have started rotating. As I said, half of Europe and the entire Arab would blow away. Would blew away. So this is the thing. This is what happened with Stuxnet. And it was discovered in 2010, but we really do not know when it came. It came much before than that. In fact, it was such a nice computer one was such a nice virus. It actually covered up itself. Nobody could understand that there is a virus because it just waited for the right moment to affect the PLC. Before that, nobody could understand. No antivirus tool, nothing. It was just sitting as a benign piece of code, and it was constantly looking for the right opportunity to come, and the moment it came, it just blew the entire thing. And well, it was discovered in 2010, as I said. And it is many people believe, we do not know, many people believe it has been created by the US national NSA. But yeah, that is I'm not just going into that controversy, but yes, it is said, and if you just Google it, you will find a lot of source of this information. But this is just a I would say this is most likely to be a conspiracy theory. And but whatever, whoever has made it, we do not know. But 1/4 of power companies in the entire world was affected. 80% of the power companies in Mexico was a victim of this Stuxnet. 60% of the power companies in India has been a victims for this Stuxnet. In fact, if you remember, for this in 2010, we had a very big power shortage, and the grid failure happened almost across the entire India. North India was completely affected for a grid failure. So that happened. One of the reason, though this is a classified information, but many people believe that one of the reason of this is Stuxnet, because Stuxnet hit exactly at that time, and that time we have judged that 60% of the Indian power companies has been affected by this Stuxnet. So we never got any official statement, but yes, this is kind of a speculation because that this Stuxnet affected that grid failure. And in very recent past also, we have seen a different variation of Stuxnet have affecting a lot of energy facilities, even today. And that is something that really shook the world. So first of all, yes, it is a very big thing. It is a lot of money, lot of information loss, all these things. But now, first time we believe that we understood that it is not only our money or not only our data, but also our lives are on stake. So this comes a new genre of information security, or new thing that the security engineers had to think, that is the IoT security. Because after that, the IoT is also coming into picture. People are using IoT for a lot of different things, and the security engineers need to be really careful about the IoT, because it is not only the data domain, it is also interacting with the physical world we are living in. So IoT's biggest challenge is it is not only InfoSec, it is more beyond that. It is not only a CIA triad. We have built a very good mathematical model using CIA triad for information security, but we do not have that kind of model working for IoT security. We do not have very clear idea that how these things will work in CPC. What are the things we need to secure so that we can secure the entire ecosystem? We do not know that. We are still working on that. And IoT security is not only the device security. IoT security is securing the entire ecosystem, not just the I am buying a smart bulb. That doesn't mean it is just the bulbs, the smart bulb that is vulnerable for me, or that is the attack surface for my home. It might be that bulb, that might be anything else, including myself, the users. Users are the strongest and weakest link in the system. Okay. Can you guys please check whether this website is accessible?
That particular window disappeared, sir.
I know. I'm just copying that one. That's why. Chat. Can I open it? Oh, I don't know why it is so big. Could you open that?
Yeah, I'm able to open it.
Okay. Now I'm switching on my camera, and I just want to show you something. How can I do that? Do you guys see? But I want to in camera. How can I do that?
Actually, we can see you also.
You can see me.
Yeah. The background is the presentation, but we are also able to see you.
Stop sharing, so I think it would be clear. We can see your lights on and off. I did switched on your light. I don't know whether it happened.
Okay, no, the light is not yet ready. And what I wanted to do is switch camera pin for me, spotlight for everyone. Am I getting myself and spotlight? I really don't want that. I want my background to be seen. How can I do that? I think this is good.
Yeah, now it is actual background. Now it is virtual background.
Now this is the entire background you can see, or my virtual background you see.
No,
Virtual.
this is virtual. This is virtual.
It's virtual.
Okay. Okay, I have another idea. I can do that. What I can do, I'm turning off my camera and hey, hello. Okay. This is something called a Raspberry Pi. I'm using this as a IoT gateway. What else I have? I have created a small device, a small PLC board, which will turn on and off my bulb. This blue part is called a relay. Relay means a switch. That switch is operated using electric signal. It is very much similar to a transistor, or it just has a control pin. If you set a high volt in the control pin, it will pass the electricity. Here you can see there. Why my voice is getting input? Richard, can you please mute you? Yeah. So you can see there is two pin. This is a 240 volt I am passing from here, and this is the 240 volt. That is the output. This is the input here. 240 volt I am sending. This is 240 volt as output. It will come. In between there is a relay. The relay means relay has three bases. One of the pin is called control pin. If you send this control high volt in the control pin, it will pass the electricity from here to here. And if it is zero, it will not pass. It will just cut off the circuit. So it is as if an electric switch. Just the switch that we do it mechanically. It is an electric switch, which is called a relay. And also it has a, if you can see a small chip here, this is nothing but a Wi-Fi module. What happens? This Wi-Fi module will take the signal, or like I communicate with this device with the Wi-Fi signal, and I can send some control data on that, and that control data, on the basis of the control data, it will send a high volt in the control pin or low volt in the control pin. If I send a particular data, for here I have programmed it in this way. If I send 1 like all one, if then 8-bit data I am sending, if the 8-bit data all one, then it will just pass the electricity. If it is all zero, it will just switch it off. It will cut down the circuit. It will this relay, it will set a low volt in the relay. That's how I have created it. Fine. And for this one I need a controller, of course. How can I tell this device that this is now you are going to send a high volt in the control pin? This is when you are going to send the low volt in the control pin. For that, we need something called Arduino processor. This is called an Arduino processor. Okay. All these things together, we can create a very basic building block for IoT. Like just a few like just an hour back, I was telling that when I want to understand a new technology, I just want to do an hands-on. Exactly the same thing I am doing that here. I'm going to do a hands-on on IoT, and I will create a very basic building block on IoT, which is a smart bulb. And we will just try to analyze the security on that, so that if it is a bigger system, a more complex system, it will be very easy for us to understand that how we can secure the entire system. That's how we will do the thought exercise. Okay. Because enough of talk has happened. We now know all these things, how to do the security, all these things we know. But now let us think ourselves, let us train our brain that how we can achieve the security engineering goals here. So all these things I have just created. Here I have this circuit. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put it in a white box so that I don't get shock. I hate electric shocks. Okay. We have a bulb here. I'm just putting this bulb in the holder. As you see, this is the plug point. This is going here in this pin, and this is the output, the load. Okay. Now let's see what happens. You guys are already started playing with this, right? Who turned it off?
Not me.
Okay, but who is playing with this? Now people have started playing with this.
I think it is still not connected.
Sorry,
No, it's connected.
it's connected. But I'm
So
not using
whoever
any.
answered it is the one who's switching on.
Yeah, this is just a link. This is just a HTML code I have written. It is not in nothing like I could have used good JavaScripts and all, but I didn't have time to do that. It is just once you click, it will. There is a delay. I think 5 seconds delay. There will be, because wherever you are sending the signal, it is going to Google GCP's GCP, and from that GCP it is coming traveling here, and that's why there is a delay. So once you click, you cannot see it on your interface. I'm not now somebody switch it on and somebody else is switching it off. Please don't blow it. Okay. So I have used a pen thing, but please
So
don't.
are you using static IP or dynamic IP from your home?
Static only. You
You
can't
need to
edit it
secure
out.
now your bulb, sir. You need to secure now from us.
Exactly, that is what I am going to do. Now I am explaining how exactly this basic building block of this IoT is working. So if we have this is what you already got, and these are the things I am not telling right now. I'm coming to that. So how we have created it? As I said, this is our Wi-Fi relay circuit. If I have like I am using a Arduino processor to control this one, and I have a gateway. Gateway means inside my home I am using this Raspberry Pi. Now let me switch on my Raspberry Pi. This is here.
We can't see you, sir. Yeah, we can.
Can I see? Okay. Now you can. This is the Raspberry. Oh my God! It's not again the same problem is happening. This is the Raspberry Pi I am working on. Okay. So this Raspberry Pi is sending an information on my screen, please. Where I can, if it's not Zoom. In Zoom it was easy. Okay. Do you know how I just can bring this bring my video here? It's not okay. Camera. Okay, what is happening here now? Now just look at the slide. This gateway is nothing but this Raspberry Pi, which is right now on and working. This is the Raspberry Pi. It's working. Okay. So this is the gateway. This knows how to connect with this Wi-Fi relay or the Arduino processor. Right now, I'm not using Arduino processor because I have used a pre fabricated chip for this Wi-Fi relay, which has itself a control unit. So this gateway is sending information to this Wi-Fi relay. On the basis of that information, Wi-Fi relay decides whether it will break the circuit or it will make the circuit. The way I have written the program is this: if it sends all 0, then it is switched off. If I send all 1, 8 bit of 1, it is switched on. That's how I have written the program. And where I have written the program, part of this, the agent is running here in this Wi-Fi relay and the Arduino processor. And this is kind of the server, and this is the client. This gateway is the client. So gateway is connecting to the server, sends this information. Now this server knows that whether it has to turn on the Wi-Fi relay or turn off the Wi-Fi relay. So if I just want to see it, this is my Raspberry Pi. I think light on and light off are the two code. What is happening? I think it should. Do you see me now? What's that? Okay, ideally it should have turned it on or oh, so ideally there will be a few seconds delay and it will turn off. Okay,
At line number three, is there any issue?
sorry.
Light off. Can you open the command line? Raspberry command line. Light off line number 3, cull off. A cull command not found.
Call command not found. Got it. Go.
Apt on this one.
Why? Okay, let me run it from here. Have here, yes, we have here also. Light. Now this is happening. Okay. I can switch it off for shown. It sends from my Raspberry Pi. This the information is sent to this one. Since directly from my Raspberry Pi, I couldn't do that because that card is not installed. But here, using that this one, I'm just using a relay here. And if I just put light off, it will turn it off. Simple. And it is sending the packages 1 1 and 0 0. This is the payload it is sending. It is switching on and switching off. This is the IP of my of this Wi-Fi relay. This is the IP. Okay, and this is the IP of my Raspberry Pi. That's how it is working. So let us come to this page again. Now what we are doing, so from here, from the gateway, we know how to connect this Wi-Fi relay. So far, it is clear. Everybody understand this is how this is happening. There is no magic. It's such a simple thing, right? Now what I did, I have connected this Raspberry Pi to a web server. Where the web server is running? Web server is running in GCP, Google Cloud Platform. From the Google Cloud Platform, I have opened a reverse port lookup here in my router so that my Google Cloud Platform, I am running a web application, web server, which can actually access to my gateway. So that the moment that web server, you guys are clicking on the switch on button, it hits to that PHP script. From that PHP script, go from GCP, the information is coming to my Raspberry Pi, and my Raspberry Pi knows how to handle that information, and then it sends 0 0 or 1 1, depending on the link where you have clicked. It is sending the information to my Wi-Fi relay circuit, and that's how the switch is getting on or off. Sure. Any problem in how we have built this?
Yeah.
So this is how it's happening. This is the relay. I just connected these things and connected with the bulb. I have a router. I have connected the router with my Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi has a Wi-Fi. This Wi-Fi and this Wi-Fi gets connected. And I can either directly work on this Raspberry Pi and I can send the command directly to this guy. It will turn the bulb on or off. Or I have connected it with the router, and router is connected with the REST API running in Google Cloud. I am using that Google Cloud one, and just using any browser, I am accessing the Google Cloud. From the Google Cloud, it is accessing my Raspberry Pi. So this is how it is happening. So all these things are happening in my home, and all this is happening outside my home. Right now, I am using this GCP. I could have used anything else. And this is the client. You guys from your computer, you are clicking on this, and it is happening. So that's how the entire process is happening. I have used OpenHab for my Raspberry Pi, so that it is OpenHab is a nice IoT gateway. It's nothing, just the same thing what I said. Like I have to send this information to this guy, to this Arduino processor or the Wi-Fi relay. Right now, I'm just calling it Arduino processor because that's the first code I have written. So in the Arduino processor, I have to send some information, and which information I need to send. For that, I need to install something on my Raspberry Pi. Some software should be there which will take care of that, right? So that is called OpenHab. And I am using MQTT protocol because I wanted to learn MQTT protocol as well. So that's why instead of HTTP, I am using MQTT protocol, which is a UDP protocol. It sends the information here in the Arduino. I have installed the agent. I have written the agent in this Arduino processor and install another agent or another broker in the Raspberry Pi, so that the broker can send information to another broker. The information is 00, depending on 00 or 11, it is switching on or off. This is just a basic building block. Now, if we can implement this thing, we can implement anything in IoT. After that, there is nothing that I cannot implement, because I can implement the basic building block switching on and off. Now I can do anything. If I want to add some more capability, like I want to increase the brightness, change the color, I either need a different type of hardware, different type of bulb, or I need something else. Or even on this bulb only, I can actually increase the brightness, or I can increase or decrease the brightness using the power, like the voltage, input voltage to this bulb. I can do anything I want. But this is the basic building block.
Yes, additional blinking capability also you can add.
Yes, I can add blinking capability. I can add anything I want. I can do with this bulb. Instead of this bulb, I can connect it with my washing machine. That actually I tried to do that, but anyway, this washing machine is kind of 15 ampere switch, which blew all my Wi-Fi relay, because my Wi-Fi relay doesn't support that 15 ampere power. It's huge. But I actually wanted to do, because every time I run my washing machine, I forget it. It gets auto off though. But I just tried with this one. And of course, the switch. In fact, in my bedroom, the switch, like every night, I have, me and my wife has a fight who is going to switch, because there is no bed switch. So that's why we had to get up and switch off the bulb tube. So we used to have fight. Now I'm just using this one for switching off my. And this happened almost 6 years back, when these things were not that much popular, or it was not that much well-known thing. But that time I actually used this Arduino processor and implemented this thing. Now I think this is quite popular and quite familiar to almost everybody. But this is how I created it like 5-6 years back. And this is how we can do anything. Now I am quite confident that I can do any kind of automation in my home. In fact, I keep on doing that. A lot of IoT projects and all, I keep on doing that. But that's not the point. The point is, all of us now can do that, right? We can, if we like, we can understand this is doable, right? We can write the code. We can almost, there is no rocket science or nothing. It's just
Codes are easily available.
codes are easily available. You can get it in GitHub. You can get it anywhere. In fact, codes are not very difficult also. The Arduino code, I wrote it long back because I wanted some other hardware project before. So that I had those code ready, but now I will get lot of codes, and in fact, better code in GitHub. In fact, the delay that I have, that you can reduce that delay also. It will be almost instant. So you can do all these things. Now come to the GD. So now it's 4 o'clock. The next 1 hour, you guys will discuss, not me, on this picture here. We will have this picture on this screen. You guys will tell how the security can be compromised and how we can secure the entire system. If we can secure this thing, we can secure anything. So now let us start the GD. Let us open up the floor for all of you. I'm taking my diary and I'm just noting what you guys are saying, and this carries marks. So the marks is distributed in this way. We have 4 assignments. For 4 assignments, we have 10 each, so 40. Today's GD will carry 10 marks and 50 marks of MCQ. That's how I have distributed the marks. So now this floor is for you. You guys please discuss. And the question here is, this is what we have seen. This is the design of something new, some new technology, some architecture. So now you guys discuss about this design. I, being the developer, or I am being the architect of this design, I will give you answer if you have any question. And then, just like a security engineer, all these things that we have learned so far, you have to tell, or you have to discuss about how we can make this entire system secure. That's the question. And just as a guideline, we can think, just usually what we do, first we try to find out what are the threats, and then we try to find out how we can make it secure. So now please, you guys you may start now. We'll have this discussion for next 45 minutes. How many folks we have right now? Pranav, how many folks we have for this discussion?
So there should be 10.
Sir,
Okay.
one phone.
Just a minute.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. So I think
There are 11, sir.
Okay.
11 participants.
Yes. Okay, 11. Then I think the 3 minutes, okay. So let us take it for 35 minutes. Right now it is 4:05. We'll take it for 35 minutes and we'll stop it at 40, right? 40, 45 maybe. If there are more points coming, or there are more discussions going on, we'll stop at 4:45.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Okay, now the floor is for you guys. If you want control on the screen, you can take it.
No, control is not required. So means we can just give some best practices to, yeah,
Not
for
best,
security.
it's not best practices. Just the question is, hey, I am creating this new system, this new design. That is usually happens in any company also. They come up with some new design of some new product lines, and we as a security engineer, we involve in a discussion with the architect, the manager, the developers, a few of them, and we discuss that how we can make it secure. What are the things, what are the threats, how it can be secured, what are the best practices, what may go wrong, all these things, and which is the best solution in terms of, because the cost is also involved. So there might be multiple solutions, but
Correct.
so I want you guys to do that discussion for me. And I am the developer. I'm probably the first time in my life I am enjoying I need to.
So means here means the first thing is the connection is not secure. Anybody can listen your username and password, right? Because
And yeah,
we are
okay.
communicating on HTTP.
Mhm.
Second point is the password and username, whatever you have used. Okay, those combination are more generic one. If anybody uses rainbow table, anybody can find out that.
Okay,
It's
anybody?
easily crackable, that username password. Second thing is, my question is how you are taking the, like, is it fine to ask you question like in regarding input?
Yes.
Yeah, he is developer, so we'll ask.
Okay, so you will be taking input like for switch on and switch off, and respectively you will give 1 1 and 0 0 as a output, which will switch on or off the light bulb. But have you tested this with any other input? How it will behave if I give some random thing? For random input, how it will behave?
Okay. Good.
Like
So
input validation, whether you are doing any input
For the testing.
validation. Yes, yes.
For the
Input.
testing.
Yes.
So what will happen instead of admin password? I just type this one, right?
Yeah, SQL injection things.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It is happening. Good try.
Yeah,
Okay.
and another
This is
problem
not
is
secure for. Yeah.
Raspberry Pi means your hardware. The program seems running on root, and also it is connected to the home LAN. Separate VLAN should have been used, I guess. Means if somebody is hacking your Raspberry Pi, then it can have access to your home LAN, and he can enter into anything which is connected to your LAN. So the target won't be your bulb, but your target could be your house, complete house.
Great.
So to secure more that, what you can do is on the router, you have to put the IP whitelisting. So specific devices IPs you can put on the router so that only those devices can connect, not the outside ones. You know the internal systems IPs already, you will know. So you can only whitelist those IPs on the router, along with segregation of the systems.
Okay.
Some security best practices can be followed, such as if you're connecting through GCP, right? So you can only allow the specific services or the protocols using some firewalls as well on the GCP itself,
Mhm.
so that only HTTPS will be allowed. Using you can have a PKI infrastructure if you want to secure that connection as well, uh, using certificates. Uh, Plus, you can have additional encryption wherever in the whole architecture, wherever you are using.
If HTTPS is not secure, this is not a good thing, right? So we have
Yes, this is not a good thing.
to do that. How we can get rid of this red HTTPS, then cart, and then not secure.
Generated certificate.
So you
Why?
can have a
Either need to generate certificates and register with the CA, or you can
A digital certificate would be required.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
So you need to have a certificates. Yes.
get it registered on CA. Yeah.
But would it be required for this kind of a normal project? That is also
No, it
but
depends
But
on budget
developer.
probably. We can give the recommendation, but yeah, maybe at the end depends on the budget probably, right? But that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, but how much will it cost for a SSL certificate? And can you do that self-signed certificate? Will that also erase this red color and not secure flag?
Self-signed certificate, you can put it only on your browser if you have the root certificate, but it will not be secured all over, because you will not be the browsers will not have that, right? Self-signed.
Yes.
Okay.
You can configure your own browser to not have that red one, but others, if they use it, will show because they will not have that whole certificate chain.
Okay, got it. So there is no other way other than buying a SSL certificate. How much does it cost for a SSL certificate?
I think it doesn't cost much with GoDaddy's and all. I'm not exactly sure on the certificates, but I think you showed up right once in some Indian site with how much it cost.
400, 500, not much. I think.
Okay. And
Yeah.
even if I want to save that money, is there any way?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking, you can like this is for GCP. I'll just give an example for AWS. So your page is static. So we can put up one S3 bucket and a normal static HTML page with JavaScript, which can interact with your API. So nothing would be required, I guess.
Okay.
So
You can use the AWS load balancer that will not use a certificate even as AWS is recognized in all browsers.
Okay. But I'm using GCP. GCP is also recognized, right? Why
Yeah,
it is-
same thing. Like you can use the GCP load balancer that is also
I am
accepted.
I am using GCP only. But still it is showing. Very strange.
No, because you have hosted your, this is your IP. For your workload, this is the public IP 35.243. That is not registered, no?
This is
you need
where I created it.
I don't think so. You are using GCP load balancer.
Okay, I have to use the load balancer. Got it. Yeah, I am using this
You are
instant.
using the IP of that instance, maybe. Sir,
Instance, you are using the direct
virtual
instance.
machine in GCP.
What,
So you are using the
WordPress, yeah, WordPress is running on.
so directly it will. Yes.
So this domain is not
registered. Yeah.
Right,
registered.
then it is working, right? Okay, got it. This is not secured, but this is secured.
Yeah, this is secure.
This is
Because
So
this is
instead
the
of that,
certificate has been taken for this one, right? That's for the, is that the reason?
Then yeah, you can do it subdomain on the same this thing also.
or else you can have a login, means you can customize this web page with one more page of getting all your IoT devices in one place through some secured login.
Okay.
So since you already have a secured web page, HTTPS, so instead of having one more web page running only for the IoT devices, rather the one web page you have, you can have some kind of uh, login, some kind of application or somewhere in your web page showing that these are my devices. You just click that and it will then go to that particular web page where your all the IoT devices are listed.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So this was more or less on the application side. Now, if we come to the router and your Raspberry Pi, so there should be some firewall.
Here I need to have a firewall.
yes, in router you can have firewall, you can have IP whitelisting, you can have
Some control should be in place here for like any traffic going out from 192.168.1.18 should not be allowed. Means why would Raspberry Pi will communicate outside? Not required. We can block the outgoing traffic from Raspberry Pi.
Okay, got it.
and as I told you can put only those the IPs of your individual home system, so you can only whitelist those that only those can connect to the router.
Okay. But
Also,
one,
first you have to change the
uh,
default password.
for Parth, I have one question. Like if we block the outgoing connection, then will this GCP web application understand that whether the command has been executed or not? How it will find that there is no response will also come to him, it right?
If stateful device, it will come back. If non-stateful device only, this block will
Yeah,
stop.
it will come back. No, we have router IP is there and your public IP is also there. So GCP does not know what is 1.18.
Okay.
And Raspberry Pi is on Linux.
Yes, it is a Linux. Raspbian Linux I am using here. It has a very lightweight Linux card and Raspbian.
I'll
Okay.
make you some best practice here. I mean, just from a basic perspective, first change a router's name because that is one of the things which I experienced. If you know your router name, based on that, you can get your user ID and password default, and you can access your devices. And the other one is like create a separate Wi-Fi network itself and isolate them from a different password. Nowadays, all those new routers have that option. Then create dual authentication, use PIN or fingerprint using phone's functionality so that no one gets a hold of that. And second one is like right now when you log in directly, it takes you to the root user, create multiple user like root user and normal user and make it like two people accessing different functionality.
Okay. Okay, so you are when I use this Raspberry Pi, I logged in as root, which is this is not boot, right? So I need
Yeah,
to
because you not only can access it, but you can also modify.
got it. So this Raspberry Pi, my user is I think root. Okay, this is not good. Okay, got it.
Yeah, this is root. And where the user is created, admin, on Raspberry Pi only.
Yes.
Authentication is taking place on Raspberry Pi.
Yes.
That we can do on GCP.
Okay. Oh no, this admin password that is happening in GCP. Once the
Okay,
GCP
okay.
is passed in GCP PHP, it is giving you the web page. But
Hmm.
for accessing the Raspberry Pi, I do not need any. I have not implemented anything like that. It is just you know the root password of Raspberry Pi, you can access it.
Got it.
You can create a new user with minimum privileges required to perform the actions, and you can keep the root account for only for specialized task when required, or the normal task any other user can do.
Okay.
Basically, you need to do OS hardening of whatever, like hardening of the Raspberry Pi.
Okay. What do you mean by hardening of the Raspberry Pi?
So whatever now, can we go to previous slide? You were using SSH and all, right?
Yes.
So SSH, if you are using, so as per CIS guideline, how to configure SSH, you should follow that.
Okay.
Like configuration and like any protocol, like MQTT also you are using, right? How to
Yes.
configure this standard protocol. We can follow the standard guidelines.
Okay.
Guidelines. CS mentioned that. For SSH is there, I'm not sure about MQTT, but
SSH
SSH
you can use key-based connectivity instead of password-based. You can have key-based connectivity. Yeah.
In CIS guideline, it will follow. There are some 15 guidelines, 15 or 17 configuration parameters. It has mentioned how to securely configure SSH. So
Okay,
we
got
can
it.
follow.
Siddharth, you said something like key-based authentication. What is that?
Public key.
In SS, yeah, a public key, private key, key-based authentication and SSH. You can generate a key pair and then you can enable only the key-based authentication on the SSH so that when you present your private key, then only it can connect. If anyone gets access even if they don't have the private key, it will not allow anyway. You can disable the password-based connectivity, only allow key-based connectivity.
Okay.
In the SSH configuration file.
Okay. Okay. Now, how you can create the key pair?
You can create on the Unix based with commands like SSH keygen,
Open SSL.
Open SSL, all if whichever is installed.
RS.
Like yeah.
You can
But
generate using
why
RSA.
we'll need a SSH from public internet on a Raspberry Pi
Yeah.
installed in the
No,
home environment?
but Raspberry Pi was trying to connect through that SSH.
Because my Raspberry Pi does not have any monitor attached to it, or I do not have any keyboard or mouse attached to my Raspberry Pi, right? So I have to check what is happening inside the Raspberry
You
Pi.
have to
Whether
remote connect it. Yeah.
Yes.
to remote connect it, I need a SSH, and that's why I used my own system. So as my Raspberry Pi was not working, I just simply used it from here, right? So that's why we needed the SSH.
Mhm.
Yes, you can generate the key pair on any Unix base, and you can put the authorized public key on the authorized key file on the Raspberry Pi, and and you can only allow the key authentication. Disable the password base.
Server will contain the private key, or sorry,
No, private key
who
private
will?
key will not be placed on the server. You can only the public key is required in the authorized keys file.
Okay, now how it, so only the public key is required.
Yes, public key will be required on the Raspberry Pi authorized keys file in the SSH, and private key you can keep it on your side whenever you are trying to remotely connect to the Raspberry Pi on SSH. You present your private key.
You are working with SSH, right? So that you have got it. So okay, then now please carry on. I'm playing my role. Fine.
Yeah.
So your
So main is Raspberry Pi.
main is
We
Raspberry.
need, we need to secure your compute.
Other than Siddharth, anybody can please tell me that where to keep this public in the Unix system or in my Raspberry Pi, exactly where it is located, except you, Siddharth. You know, I know you know.
You see SSH config underscore config / etc / SSH underscore config.
I don't think it is there. I think this is in your bash dot ssh folder.
.ssh authorized keys file.
.ssh authorized key, exactly, that's the location. It's not in the config file. It is actually in your
In config file, SSHD underscore config file, you have to change the authentication mechanism.
we have to change the password based
Yes,
authentication.
you have to comment the password based. You have to enable the key based authentication.
They are in a bash RC, which is actually a problem. Like when we are using this dot ssh, which is inside the bash, and you have to actually export that. So this is there. Many people argue that whether this is really a good thing to do or not, because these things can be accessible to anybody, these public keys and all. So now I can actually, if I get to know this public, the argument is this is public key. Even if somebody gets access to this SSH public key, it's fine. But the argument is I can spoof the server and I can act as another server. So if even I could save the public key in such a way in a very secured format, in that it would be both way authentication. The client will also be sure this is the server where my key is there. Otherwise, even if this public key is compromised, which very often happens with this kind of system, where somebody else can spoof as a server. So that's a problem, and that's a debate still going on. In fact, now I think GCP has already did not. I don't think GCP. But, I think Oracle Linux. Oracle Linux is now configuring it in a different way. Now they are using some different data store for saving this public key. Okay. Anyway, that is a different discussion. Let's move to our discussion.
Maybe kind of a vault, probably.
Hmm?
Some kind of secure vault.
Secure.
HSM.
Okay.
And,
okay, HSN. But HSN is a very costly thing, right?
yeah, it's very expensive sometimes. Yeah, so what we can do is if you want to do an SSH, let's say we can restrict it to only one user or two users. Okay, for example, you can have, as Richard said, right? You can have multiple users created. Okay,
And
give an RBAC kind of role-based access. So based on role, you can specify which services they are allowed to do.
And
And
Rakesh, we can do in SSH configuration, there is one thing that don't allow SSH to log in as a root.
correct. Correct. Yes. So we can restrict those.
So rootless
accesses.
execution can be achieved to that because we are anyway connecting to SSH.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But
And
But again, if we block the root connection, then if for any case, if the root connection was required for like for super admin to reset the config and all, then they will not be able to config if you block it completely.
yes, that's exactly what I wanted to tell, that if because it is Raspberry Pi, I do not have any terminal attached to this.
Yes, if you need to reset it, you need to change any configuration which has root level privileges, will not be able to log in at all. If you block it.
maybe we can have one more super admin role with a username and password, which is static, and we can give access to only that particular role to reset or a root.
We are going to use sudo or file. Instead of having the root login, we can disable the root login, but we can always enable another
access.
sudo ors. Yeah, so we can use that. In fact, that is secure one.
Okay.
There is one more also. There is a tool called as fail to ban. I mean, I just read it. So it is a part of Raspberry package. So once you install that, it will give you a log. So that will capture your brute forces. If there are any external IPs that doesn't fall under your, what to say, authenticated ones and all those things. So that also we can use. Probably we can call it as a third party tool installed to secure much more.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go one level up. So for your PHP page, we need to do scanning, code sanity checks, dependency checks, that everything needs to be performed.
Also code some kind of dynamics as well as static testing to be performed on at the code level as well, to see how this application is secure in terms of in terms of best practices, whether best practices have been followed at the at the OS level as well as while writing any code.
Okay.
And yeah, one more level up. So for your Raspberry Pi, we'll do containerization. Docker will use, and instead of Linux, we'll do Linux SE.
Okay.
So I think most of the things will get sorted out.
Okay.
So one more point is this MQTT. Instead of MQTT, can we use any secured protocol to communicate between the sensors?
Okay.
Also at the network level, since you are using Wi-Fi, right? You can use the secure Wi-Fi like WPA2 Enterprise or WPA3 if it supports with certificates, if that's possible.
Yes. Okay. I will check my router configuration.
Yes, we can check the router configuration as well.
And as you can see, now only you did that instead of Raspberry Pi, anybody can connect to your Android, Arduino. That's one concern. So
Yes. Very good.
because you have to make sure, because just now your Raspberry Pi was not having curl, you have updated it using your normal PC. It was the same network, it can do that. So yeah.
bypass the Raspberry Pi if I have
Yeah.
access to the network. Exactly the same thing I did right now. My
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi was not working, so I used my own PC to connect to this Arduino.
So at Arduino level also you can do some checking. Okay,
Open have we covered, no?
Hmm.
This is open source.
Mhm.
Is there a way to log these code? The reason being is like since we spoke about Startnet, what if someone hacks in and create a loop? So it's like on and off and on and off. So that will impact your devices.
Yes. So how to overcome that? Any idea?
I mean, I got the idea, but don't know the solution.
Yeah, what is that? I just missed that, please. Sorry.
No, I meant like I don't have the solution though, but this is one of the things which I thought about.
Okay. Yes, they can abuse the system if they have access. Okay. And in the Arduino level, that is also some piece of code running in Arduino also. Mostly C, System C or C running. In fact, in my case, I think I have used System C or Verilog. Whatever, some code is running, and that is also written either in C or some other lower level language. I think I am using a Verilog code here. So Arduino will so they are also, this code might also have problem. Hardware level code has a bigger problem because that is very much susceptible for the buffer overflow exploits. In fact, 60% of the hardware or firmware we are using has somewhere this buffer overflow exploits. And since Arduino does not have a very big kernel, it is very lightweight. So even we do not have any kernel level defense mechanism in
Jack
Arduino.
Canary or ASLR or anything.
Exactly.
And anything for data logging on Raspberry Pi, if at all any possibility is there, then we can do it.
And
Access logs and all. Yeah.
Some kind of health monitoring and
not speaking. So can we get their views as well? The people who have not spoken yet. Abhishek sir. Hello. Abhishek. At least we can expect something from the physical security side here. Somebody can take my Raspberry Pi or something.
And it can easily come into pocket.
Yes, physical security means
That's why
Everything is wireless, right? To block it in a box.
you should lock your door.
Yeah, and this is where we need Abhishek's input. So Abhishek, I don't think I think he might have some technical problem. Okay.
And here, with respect to the router, maybe we should keep the router up to date with the firmware, because most of the time we don't do it at home, and so that could be one. And then there can be a bit more focus on the safe REST APIs. So because maybe there are a bit of vulnerabilities like DOS attack can happen, especially with REST APIs.
Thing. In fact, most of us never update our routers, which is a very
API rate limit.
Exactly. You pointed right. But so we need to limit the API calls actually.
That firmware comes for Raspberry Pi also?
It is a OS itself for Raspberry Pi. Like they have Raspbian OS or Linux you can.
Sir has used Linux.
Yes.
Oh, Raspbian.
Raspbian also like
Raspbian.
Linux.
But they would have updated versions coming, or like it is stuck, like once installed means you cannot do update anything.
And is this solution scalable? Currently, I see only one bulb.
Yes, I
Can
believe
scale.
it's scalable. Why do
Oh,
you think it's not scalable?
no, I just asked. You are a developer, so I asked.
Sir Abhishek, this side. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my system. I hope I'm audible now.
Yeah,
Okay.
loud
So
and clear.
nothing in terms of physical security, but what I remember when I used IoT devices, we typically used to have a hub in between the router and the devices. So typically internet was connected to the hub, and then from there Zig-Wave communication or Zigbee communication used to be there. So which used to ensure that there is no communication between these devices and your other network devices. So that is one thing I think we need to have, so that your Arduino should not connect to other devices of your home. I think that is also one consideration we used to have, and there was a concept called 3-hub router or something.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
so that is also one thing I can remember. Yeah.
Basically, best way to do that is keeping this Arduino and my this hub. We are actually this Raspberry Pi is the hub, and this is my device. We should keep it in the same VLAN. It should in a separate VLAN. That will solve
Yes,
the
yes. We
problem.
discussed it earlier also. Absolutely.
And another one, you just said that there should be something between the router and the hub, which we are calling demilitarized zone (DMZ). So you just said about that also.
And also one more thing, if like this is on scale, all the IoT device, like whatever protocol you are using, it's better to do pen testing and VAPT of this thing.
Okay.
Mhm.
But the real problem with doing VAPT on IoT is this, that we do not know how to do the pen testing because we do not have
Yeah, we'll lose devices. In fact, it will crash.
might lose device. That's fine, but still we do not know how many possible ways to abuse the device. So that's the problem because it's a new thing, right? No, but not everybody can do the pen test, and you are right. So it's very costly. It's a hardware thing. Once we do that, we are destroying a hardware. So it's sometimes very difficult for doing the pen test because in fact the pen test skill to develop. If I want to do pen test on that on these devices, I know how much money I will I will waste. Again, I have to order all these things, right? So that's why I don't always want to do the pen test on my own device just to learn it. So that skill set, getting that skill set is also very costly and is not very available in the market. Who can pen test the IoT device?
But IoT entire device we cannot pen test, but like Wi-Fi stack.
Yes. So it is if we say about the ecosystem, most of the
Yes.
cases we can
Yes.
do this pen test here, even
Yes.
to some extent here. But after that, in the device level, pen testing is
Yes.
not very common, but that is also required. The pen test is required, but we do not have that skill in the market available. Not much. Okay, one more thing.
Okay.
Yeah, anything else? Anything?
One
Maybe
question. On your client side, I see one mobile, one laptop, and one mic. So, is there any implementation of voice instructions?
Yes, actually, it works with my Alexa and Google Home.
Alexa and Google Home. So,
Yes,
how it is configured? It is not in diagram, no?
it's very simple. Actually, it is simpler than we think. There are APIs given by Alexa, APIs given by Google, and there is a open like authorization token. All you need to do is just go to your Google platform, Google Home, and you have to add this device there and authorize the device. Rest of the thing Google will handle it. Or same for Alexa. It's just configuring something inside Alexa app or Alexa console rather. That's all.
So
It's
the
it's
workflow will go through Raspberry Pi. That workflow also.
same thing. So instead this work, so it is actually happening here. Instead of clicking it here, I have a specific voice command. That voice command will be processed by either Google Home or Alexa or Siri, whatever I want. that it will process my voice and it will send the same signal that my mobile client or the web client was sending. So instead of that, it is taking my voice and there is some API in the Google API or Apple API. I'm sending some voice command. It is processing the API and it is sending the same instruction that these guys were sending. That's all. It's not.
So one more layer is there.
Exactly. It's actually very easy. Implementing the voice command is much easier than we think. You can create your own voice command and you can just register that in your Google. That's all.
Okay.
Then for a user level, people can simply use showed and scan just to see if their IP is exposed.
Okay.
One question, since you have the mobile as well as a laptop shown there or a workstation, do you have any application that is connecting through this GCP or it's only through the web browser?
Sorry, I did not get. Did you say something HTTP?
No. I was asking the question that is related to are we controlling this the setup through web browser, or do we have any other application that is acting like an agent?
We can access it right now. The only web application is only the web hooks I have opened. We can have a mobile applications. I was writing something, but it has a lot of bugs. But I was just trying it. It has a mobile application, as well as I have connected it with Alexa and Google Home as well.
Okay. So I guess if we have some application as well, which is trying to connect, then that application also needs to be secure, probably.
Sorry?
If mobile application is there, then that needs to be secure, right, Rakesh?
Mobile application needs to be
Yes.
secure. Even configuration with this voice command also requires some security.
Yes.
Yes. And also on Google Cloud, you are running one virtual machine. So that machine's security is also required.
Yeah.
And we can replace that with S3 bucket and Lambda function. So we can go serverless for that part.
Okay. Anything
so
else?
I think you have a lot of work to do now.
Yeah, but I'm concerned about the people who have not spoken. Praveen, you have not spoken yet. Anything from your side? And Pranab, can you please give me the name, just call out the names who have not spoken? At least they should have a given. We should give them a fair chance to speak at least now.
Yes, I think Praveen and Vijayaraj, you spoke, right?
Yes, Vijay spoke. He has given 4 points. I have actually taken all the points that you guys have discussed. So, anybody else that we are missing?
Kiran?
One more thing. Hello.
Yeah, he is not speaking. This is quite surprising. Hey, Kiran, are you there?
Hi guys. Yes, I'm here. I only have a couple of points, but those were already spoken, so I was trying to listen.
Okay, but there is no marks for listening, Kiran. Now this is the time. Speak up.
I mean, I haven't attended the first class, so I mean, for morning session, the only points that as a network engineer that I have, I can say that So mostly about the routers that I can say that to update the firmware of the routers and change the names, add names and passwords of the routers, and use this strong passwords. And we can always avoid using public Wi-Fi. And when the other guests when the guests are coming to our home, we are not supposed to provide the admin privileges for everyone. We can give them a guest networks, and we can do like we can even encrypt our router with there are few things, actually I don't remember the names, so we can secure our network through encryption as well. So that way, even the network itself is compromised, it will not go up to the IoT devices.
Are you talking about WPA3?
Yes,
Or
WPA.
WPA and WEP? Probably these are the two things you are talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Nice.
Okay.
And on that, don't broadcast the router SSID also in case your neighbor or someone trying to hack the router nearby. So don't broadcast the SSID even. You know your router name, so don't broadcast it to the outside world.
Got it.
Hide
That is
SSID.
security. That is a good security measure, but very difficult to implement. Isn't it? Like, it really doesn't. I tried that thing, but it really doesn't work in home. It's because friends are coming, they are asking for the Wi-Fi, or I'm connecting a new device, or every time I'm restarting my phone, it's really difficult. Or if I'm resetting my phone or my laptop, I'm getting up a new
So
VM.
you can have an extender. So in that case, you can give your friends or whoever connects a Wi-Fi extender, they can connect.
What I usually do, I have a mesh router. I have a Netgear or the mesh router. So in that one, I configured just the satellite router I have configured for broadcasting, but that doesn't solve the problem. It is anyway.
Yeah, it's just a measure. It's not a foolproof, but it's a measure.
Yeah, that's true. But yes, guest login and different VLAN. Yes, I always use VLANs and guest login different. Like guest network completely different. That is true. That's really a good measure. Okay, now let us see what are the things that I thought to be. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, Rakesh, please tell.
Yeah. So yeah, we can also have a look at, if we think that we missed something, so we can also look at the standards available, like ISO. I guess there is one standard for IoT as well,
Yes.
ISO 27400, which can help us, to drill down to each and every, aspect, and uh, and also from the hardening as well as architecture perspective, how we can set up this the whole environment in a secure way.
Yes, got it. Yes. 27400 you said, no? Let me search it quickly. Just forgot what it does.
Yeah, 27400 IoT security and privacy. Yes.
27400. Oh, this is 22. That's why I just lost the track. In fact, in my slide, I had a slide that we do not have any standard. Now I have to drop that slide. I'm going to skip that slide. Thanks for this update. Yeah, it's when publication date. So how did you know about it? Its publication date is just few days back.
2 days back, I was just searching on any standards available for IoT. So I just got this.
Nice. Okay, got it. I didn't know about this because probably when I was preparing this slide that time it was not there. So it's not my
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we know how the attackers win. They do reconnaissance. They know, so we know how the cyber kill chain works, right? That's how the attackers win. Now, for our case, we actually covered everything. You guys actually you guys are great. You actually covered almost everything. And few of the attack surfaces that we have not covered is this bulb. Here it is bulb. It has nothing to do, nothing much to worry. But if it is something,
Hello, sir.
sorry, yeah,
Praveen wanted to speak now, so I think
yeah,
he can share his views now.
yeah, Praveen.
Yeah, I stepped out for 5 minutes.
Oh, no
Uh,
problem.
I think most of things has been discussed. Only one area which I wanted to highlight was if we can have a kind of a monitoring which helps to identify if, let's say, the bulb is switched on during the day, which is out of the pattern, and that generates an alert, which also gives me a alert mechanism that somebody is trying to hack. So I'm
That's great.
just I'm just looking out of the box to think. Even if I have all the security, still there will be some vulnerabilities. To trying to figure out a way so that I secure if I have a larger IoT device, so that I
Yes.
know the pattern.
Yes. So for one bulb, it is not a
Yeah,
problem, but if we have a series of bulb and fans and electronic devices, TV, fridge, washing machine, all these things,
absolutely.
then it's a problem. Yes.
Yeah, it's like I'm not at home, and then suddenly something has switched on. I should get an alert.
That's true.
Yeah, that is also true. But and also, token validation errors can also be monitored to detect if any attacks happen or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Who told about this token validation?
Vijay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just keep on diligently writing who said what.
So once you implement all the things, we'll review it again. No worries.
Yeah, he
Yes,
will
it's
apply
also
ISO OWASP top 10 for REST API securities. And yeah,
you can also bind some MAC addresses as well on the network perspective, so that only these MAC addresses will be allowed to connect. For example, Raspberry Pi as well as Arduino, the one which is connecting wirelessly, or the one which is connecting to your router. Probably we can bind the MAC address or have 802.1x implement.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
I
Nice.
I would have replaced this bulb with normal bulb. Seriously.
Okay.
yeah. Rather inviting risk, we can spend few seconds to go switch on the
The best way to do network
manual.
security, just pull out the LAN cable from your system. That's the best way to secure your system in network.
True.
But the problem here is that also actually doesn't hold good for security, because security is three things: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. If you are compromising the availability, that means also you are not doing security. So it is not called, it will not be considered as a good secure system.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the different areas where we can have threats. We have actually perfectly discussed everything, and yeah, I should pat my own shoulder, because I have been so nice in articulating all these things that you guys did a wonderful job. And we just discussed this thing in the first day, that how we can monitor and test. Just now Vijay Raj also told about this monitoring. Sorry, Praveen told about monitoring the network. Yes, that is one of the thing. And most of the time we are discussing about testing. Parth has It's Parth or Parth? Parth. Okay. Parth has said where the testing related
Yeah.
stuff, in different scanning and all these things. So these things we covered. We did not, what we did not cover directly, but we have touched upon that, but we did not cover that code review is also one very major, very big thing, especially when it is a new technology, something an unknown territory, or all the attack surfaces are not known to us. It's always good to do a code review. At least we should write the code the way it should be written. Then we can think whether somebody can attack or not. But whether the code is right or not, that is one of the very big things. So that's why code review, we did not directly talk about that. But yes, we touched about that, that we were discussing about how we wrote the Verilog code or system C codes, all these things. Buffer overflow we have discussed. Penetration testing, yes, we already discussed about that. And the things that are not yet discovered, the only thing we can do is to pray. So it comes with the second challenge we have. This is the code review, takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money as well. And most of the cases, the time to market for this IoT device or any electronic device is so less that code review, threat model, all these times are not there. In fact, I can remember in Samsung, I patented some of the thing, and I was given I was given a responsibility to implement that thing as a feature in a Samsung smart TV, and I was okay. I will do that. Someday it will happen. So no. Then I understood the actual expectation is I have to do that in the next 2 weeks. And the thing is that that feature was there in a TV which is in the market in the next 2 months. So that is the hard timeline they work in. Because they said if it is not there in the market in 2 months, somebody else will surely implement this feature in their, like some of our competitors will surely implement this feature. I said, how they can do? They said, no, you are not the only smart person who come up with this feature. They also have some smart guys. So we have to do it first. So this is the problem about code review and taking a lot of time for the security, but code review takes time, unfortunately. Penetration testing cost $4,000 to like $100,000, and it takes. So yes, if you want to be a penetration tester, you can do that. In fact, a good penetration testing might take $100,000. Yes.
I wish.
Yeah, in fact, in Dell, very common web applications that we have, we usually do the. I usually deal with the vendors, so they usually charge $20,000 to $23,000. That's a very common rate they usually ask for a reasonably good web application, reasonably big web application. That's what they charge. And yeah, most of the cases I just when I discuss with those penetration testers and all, sometimes I think, oh my God, why they are here? I can, they give me the money. If my company gives me the money, I could do it better than them. So that usually happens, but unfortunately, my company doesn't pay that much money out on me. And there are 46 billion devices across the world now. Just think, if the average penetration testing cost is $20,000 and there are 46 billion devices, how much would be the total cost for the industry that they will pay only for the penetration testing? That's huge. That's not measurable, right? So this is why really not scalable. Penetration it's very nice to listen, nice to say when we are doing some discussion. It's very nice to speak. Hey, let us do some penetration testing. But if you have so many devices, how many devices you can expect that they will undergo a penetration testing?
But before going into production, not all the device, but we have to do pen test of one device at least per se.
Yes, we should do with the prototype, but that is also very like, just imagine for Samsung how many different electronic devices they are selling.
Yes.
So only in Samsung, I remember the penetration testing we used to do only for those devices that has multiple, that is used as a platform in multiple devices. Like the same platform is used in mobile, same platform is used in TV, or same platform is used in somewhere like Tizen. Tizen, if you remember, there was a Samsung operating system before Android. When Android was there, Samsung thought that they will compete with Google and they'd come up with a new operating system named Tizen. And for the Tizen is for penetration testing happened, the Tizen, because there are some lakhs of millions of devices are going to use that Tizen. That was their expectation. For that it happened. But for individual phone that we are buying or individual TV we are buying, even for that entire series also, it's very difficult to do the penetration testing even for one production cycle. It usually doesn't happen like that. And we really cannot blame them. So if they really cannot, if they pay this much of money on penetration testing of your phone, you really cannot expect that you will get that phone in 20,000 bucks in the market. Right. So that's the problem. And the fourth challenge is yet to be discovered security threats. So we have already discussed what we known on that. We have made a very good discussion, but there are a lot of threats that we really do not know yet. Just like 10 years back, we really did not know that there is a threat on CPS or the PLCs can also be compromised. Still, we do not know how many threats are there. This is a auto drive car softwares we have somebody has simulated, and this the simulation said this picture and this picture has only just one single bit flip. The entire user data, the sensor data that the car was taking, in that sensor data, in the entire sensor data, just one bit flip means this to this. Now, just imagine when we are doing IoT, we are connecting our car, we are creating smart cars, we are creating autopilot cars, and the car, just one bit somehow got changed, either by it is a security issue or the reliability issue. So this one will be seen like this in the car will not slow down, and we know what will happen. So another big problem is the severity of attack. If the attack happens, it is kind of the apocalypse. Cost money, cost life, cost nation, even the planet. There is a nice story that just a second. Yeah, there is a nice story that I want to tell you. We started with our Batman story, right? Now let us come another Gotham story. Schneider Electric, we all know it's a very famous company that makes that makes SCADA devices and all. And they shipped a product, a very well-known common product, with one vulnerability. The vulnerability is simple. They have hard-coded a password. They hard-coded a private key inside the code. They thought this is something, some 15 or 20 gigabytes of code, and who is going to understand there is a public key which is encoded, which is hard-coded in the code. There is a open source community, the name of the community is Open Source Security, and that community found that private key inside the code on 4th April 2017. Okay. So just think about the timeline. 4th April 2017, they have published it. And what they claim, they have intimated the company in 2016 December about this problem, and the company deliberately ignored that. They said, hey, this is the private key using which I can access your control system of the SCADA device. I can clearly, without any username and password, I can just simply log into the system. I can control the system, all the SCADA device that is using this thing. And that is a very famous SCADA device. That is, I think that is this one, Modicon of TM something. This device was a very well-known device. It used to be used, it was used for almost in all the Nordic countries for their power distribution. This is also used in Norway for their so drinking water purification network. All these things they used to use this SCADA device, and it has this problem. Anybody from internet, they can connect this device and they can control this device, because the control panel, the private key of the control panel is there in the code, and they found Open Source Security found, and they informed to the company. Company did not respond. So after 5 months, the company published the data on internet. Hey, this is the public key and this is how you can get. Nice. Now the entire system got, I'd say, the entire system got messed. After that, of course, Schneider Electric had to take it forward because it was a public thing. Then all the nations, the Nordic countries, Norway, Sweden, UK, all these companies got pretty scared because all the critical infrastructure devices, critical infrastructure they have that was using this device, and anybody could just turn everything down in a minute. And literally, Norway government sent a notice, a public notice on internet. We know there is a flaw in the system. We know that anybody can come and compromise this system. We sincerely request and beg everybody, please do not do that. Give us some time. Within 48 hours, we are going to resolve this issue. We are working on that. By these 48 hours, please do not mess up with this system. We know that this might cause it may cause a lot of disruption. And the nicest part is that in that 48 hours window, nobody tried to attack any single system. Okay. So this is a very nice story, a horror story. And of course, Schneider Electric was brought to court. A lot of things happened. In fact, the court judgment said that we have been dealing with this commercial computing over a century, but we still making the same mistake again and again. Everybody knows we should not use the hard-coded password, but still you are using it, being a very big company, and this is a shame for us. Okay, you can search with about this story. It's there. It's a very nice story.
Okay.
Okay, and with that, it comes with the security aware engineering committee, which we do community. This community feeling among the engineering we have to increase. We have to think about the cyber hygiene, because in most of the cases, whenever it is security, the engineering community thinks who cares. And as I said, human beings are the weakest and the strongest link in the system. So the consumer, enterprise, and developers all have equal responsibility for this. Okay. And that's pretty, we can end it here. There are some reports and all. These are some cyber attacks. Now I just want to show you the some last thing. Just give me a second. I'm trying for that comment. Yeah. How many of you have used Shodan?
Everybody, I guess.
Yes.
Because we have that.
Yeah, used, but don't have that API, but we have used.
I just search it webcam 7 or webcam. Okay.
Yeah, online web cameras.
So you have seen this thing, right? Okay,
Yes.
then I much.
Yeah, we have used.
Yes, yes.
In one of the module.
Web application security only, I guess. Sridhar sir module, I don't remember.
Okay, in that case, you already have seen this thing. Yes, nothing. Yep, you can see some.
Yeah, IP cameras. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, this is what I was talking about. The users. The user should be careful about these things. The industry should be careful about these things, and the developers should be careful about these things. And I think these are pretty much covered, but I'm just saying it again. If with the same configuration, everything is same, one TV from the same company, one TV is getting sold in 25,000, another is 65,000. Which one are you going to purchase? Of course, this one. And that means you are compromising with the security, because they are selling it in 25,000 rupees because they have not done enough tests. They have not hired they have not done the code review. They had not hired a penetration testing, because that cost will obviously will add up here. So yes, all the users say that we care for security, but when it is time of buying, they vote with their wallets, not with security. So that is another problem that the industry is struggling with. And there are some
True.
And there are some compliance we already have, but that compliance does not always necessarily mean security. And just today we found there is something called 27,400. That's nice to find today. Update management, we talked about that. Update, I don't know how many of us have updated our routers, but that is really required. And the physical hardening, do you know there is something called a Linux rifle? So it actually the sniper rifles in any defense or any military unit, the snipers are the highest paid. Sorry, anybody? I think Abhishek is saying something. So in any defense unit, the sniper are the highest paid people, because using the sniper rifle is not as easy as we see in the Hollywood movies. Because it is a long distance. The bullet is traveling long distance. It has to calculate the wind. It has to calculate the distance. It has to calculate the Earth's surface. It has to calculate even Earth's rotation. Even sometimes there are some quantum things also comes into the picture, because it is like many of the related, like it's relative terms they have to calculate. And literally the snipers had to take a pen and paper, and before shooting they have to calculate exactly which point they should target, so that like exactly which point they should fire, so that the bullet will hit the target. It's not like the Hollywood movie. We see that the target is exactly in the center of that cross, and they fired the bullet, and the bullet hits his forehead. It does not happen like that, because just imagine when the sniper is sitting in a higher altitude, and the target is in the lower altitude or the lower height. Of course, there will be a projectile motion. Of course, due to the rotation of the earth, there will be some deviation of that bullet. There are wind, lot of things, and they have to literally calculate that. And that's why somebody thought, okay, let us put that Linux kernel here, and that computer will calculate exactly which point you have to target, so that it will hit the exact the original target. It's not the exact like where you have to aim. That's that For that there are some Linux rifles snipers. And probably the Russian used this thing, and the very next day these things was hacked. And I think not Russia, I think it was in Israel. The Israelis hacked these machines, and they actually wasted lots of bullet, because none of the bullet hit the target. The Linux kernel was hacked the moment they connected, and they connected it to internet also, because they needed live weather data. And that's the only problem it caused, and that is the only attack surface. And the Israeli attackers simply just compromised the entire system. Okay, and this is, I think we have a 10th one. I'm just going to 10th. And yes, we have several data models. We have several like we have CAPEC, we have ATAC, we have NVT, we have CWE. All these things are there. We just need to know how to connect all these data models to get the relevant information, especially for IoT. And these are the things we have. And I think this covers pretty much all I had to share about IoT security. And with that, we can conclude our session on security engineering. So just in a gist, we started with how to build a secure application. Then we discussed about how the built application can be secured using different ways. We have had an assignment for that. What are the different tools we use? We discussed about the threat model on the first day. Then the next 2 days we spend most of our time on cryptography. We learned how a block cipher works. We learned how a symmetric cipher works. Then we learned how what is a trapdoor function, and using the trapdoor function, how we can implement a asymmetric key cryptography. Then we learned about blockchain. We learned about quantum cryptography. And of course, not in very details, but because blockchain and quantum cryptography itself can be a different subject, we just touch the basic things about that. And we discussed about the modern day application, how we built modern day application and how we built security into that. We discussed about IoT, and we discussed ourselves. In fact, after doing all these things, all of us were in a position to find out, to run a conversation around how to create software engineering, how to create security engineering and security architecture, how to build that into a product. So that we already discussed related with our IoT. Exactly, that is the same discussion that usually happens when we run it for with our product teams. It's almost the same discussion, very similar to that. So we got that experience as well, how exactly in the industry we work with this security engineering. And with that, I think I was able to give you a lot of good, interesting points, some nice stories, and most importantly, something to think of, something to search in Google, some interesting points that you can inculcate in your mind. So that is the most important, I believe. So with that, I'm concluding this session. Anybody wants to say or add anything here?
Sir, the final exam will be MCQ type, right?
Yes.
Sir, so could you like share the pattern of the exam?
Okay.
Only MCQ, Dr. Soumya?
No
scenario, there is no lab or anything, or questions are part of that.
What we want, Shinu? Is it only like, okay, we can do some scenario based thing, right? Not MCQ. Why MCQ is boring, right, guys?
The assignment itself are more than.
Can't hear you, Praveen.
I'm saying the assignments given by sir itself is a massive open book.
Okay.
Even if it is a open MCQ, or it is a scenario based thing, it will be open book. It is open book and open internet. So you feel free to use anything you want, but at the end of this 1 hour or 1.5 hour given, I want the answers, and you have to think. It's not a straightforward questions, that I can tell you very well. It will not be a very straightforward questions. You have to think, you have to do some hands-on. Even if it is MCQ, then also you have to do the same thing. Okay.
So how many MCQs? 50 MCQs.
Okay, the exam marks is 50. We'll see. Probably part of that 50% will be MCQ and 50% will be some scenario based system where it is not MCQ, but it is something, some you have to find something, or some problem based problem based question, a real time problem based question.
And duration 1 hour.
If it is MCQ, it is faster. If it is descriptive, we will increase path.
It's
no, but how did you find the learning great, or what is that? Nobody's talking about those exams.
I think these people are very interactive, and I think they enjoyed also. I enjoyed. So now we want to see how much they have enjoyed. So what do you say, Part, Praveen, and others?
Yeah, I enjoyed. I don't have any issue.
Not only enjoy. I'm talking about the enjoyment in the exam. How you want that enjoy?
That enjoyment depends on you also, sir. If you give easy question, we'll enjoy more.
I don't know whether it is easy or difficult, but one thing I can tell you, this is not something a straightforward question that you can simply Google and find the answer. Or if it is not something that if you open a book and find the answer. I really do not believe in some memory based game. That is, we don't need that. We have information everywhere. We have access to Google. The education system is changing. The the memorizing thing is not going to work for us. It's like 25 to 20, 30 years back, if you have that information in your brain, you would be a superstar, because that information, getting that information was very difficult. If I do not have that in my mind, I have to go to a library, open a book, search it, and then find the information. That's why information was very important. Memorizing the information was very important. But in today's world, it is not. It is not memorizing the information, but how you are processing the information is more important for tomorrow. And the education should be like that, right? So it's not something that you can simply Google and you can find the answer. It will be something you have to do. You have to process. You have to understand. Right, Shinu? Right? Am I right?
Absolutely. At least on a experienced people, working professionals, masters program, problem solving is the key, not answering the question, because questions won't come on a platter in life, no?
Exactly.
So,
And in our real day, we have Google every time. Everybody is holding a smartphone. We can get any answer if we want, but we need to know that how we can process the information. So that's why I think the exam will be, I think it will be fun. Surely it will be fun, at least if you can you can approach it perfectly. And I want it partially MCQ and partially explanatory, or it's partially descriptive, because even if you are unable to answer the right, even if you are unable to click on the right answer, in your description, we can at least find out that what was your thought process, how you have approached towards the problem. In fact, that should have a merit, in my opinion. It should not be just like where you have clicked. It should not be like that. At least what you have thought, that should have that thought process should have some merit, should be given some reward for that. That's why I want it partially descriptive and partially MCQ, or MCQ with a description, like all the MCQ answer, whatever you have chosen. I just want to make sure it is not randomly clicked. You have to give us one sentence explanation that why you think this is the answer, why not anything else. That also works. In that case, we can make the entire test MCQ. But for every answer, you have to give one sentence explanation. Which one you want? Please tell me.
But one thing, Soumya, as you have covered all the topics, like you have diversified into cryptography and blockchain was there. Then you have covered all DevOps tool, and also now like this has been comprised into security engineering. You know, so are there any specific subtopics you will be focusing?
No, it will be
If
mostly
you
combined. I mean, for answering one question, you need to know at least 2-3 different concepts. Then only you can answer the question. You have to understand, not know, but you have to understand at least a basic understanding. Not very deep level understanding, but some basic understanding you have to have.
oh, okay. Because if you give us assignment 2 like questions, it is good. Watching movie or something.
Those movies are interesting.
okay. Another thing, a few of them have done projects with Dr. Soumya, which is moved to a publication and all. So especially something related to cryptography or encryption, etc. Dr. Soumya is the right capstone mentor for you. Have you discussed anything?
I think I had a work with Avijit. I had a word with Avijit.
Okay.
So Avijit was doing something on steganography, but we hadn't had the chance to discuss it more, and what is the novelty he's implementing, that I have not had the chance to discuss with him.
Okay. Others, I hardly see any conversations around that. It's that is why these two batch, TS04 and 5 must convocate. I don't know. Are you worried that I can see hardly Vijay Raj is working, Srinivas, no idea. Siddharth is working, Roy, no idea. Richard, no idea. Rakesh, no idea. Praveen.
We are working on it, ma'am.
Where are you working? We have to have the visibility, no? Work along with us. You're working in secret, is it?
Not really, ma'am. So we are we have to come up with some concrete topic which will eventually pass. So we are,
Not
and
really, not really. First you focus on narrow down the area and then it will eventually you will have the clarity, right? This is actually very